Hey everyone, this is Jack from the Cardboard Herald, and today I'm going to be giving you 5 quick strategy tips that anyone can employ in order to improve their game at Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition. The first thing you need to think about is card draw. This is a game in which cards are going to matter in everything that you do. I mean, it's no coincidence that it is a card game. And so you're going to need to think about how you're going to get those cards. Yes, there's the research phase, but that's kind of a poor way on its own in order to acquire more cards. And there are lots of opportunities to get more cards throughout the game, but you need to invest in them. So whether you play something that allows you to draw cards as an action during the action phase, that increases the amount of cards that you draw from 0 to any amount during production, or that modifies how you pick up cards or get to keep cards as a result of the research phase, you need to think about how you're going to acquire those cards. Why is this so important? Well, on top of the fact that you are playing cards in order to do just about anything in the game, our second tip is that you need to think about your cards as a monetary value, not just in what you can utilize them to do, but also cards are worth $3 each. You can always discard a card at any time in order to get 3 money, especially early on in the game. If you are just struggling to get money, you need to be able to think about the cards in your hand as potential discards in order to pay for other cards that you have. That is really important when considering the value proposition of cards you've drawn into that you might not be able to play right away. Utilize it now for the money that it can produce you in order to get that snowball going. This is an engine building game, and holding off to play something as a dead card in your hand until ultimately you can add it to your engine is just not a good use of your time. Tip number 3, on the other hand, kind of flies in the face of some of that. Cards that can be played in order to synergize with either your corporation or the other cards that you have at hand are almost always going to be worth it. If you're trying to decide between 2 cards, one may be a little bit better as far as like the immediate gain, but another one synergizes either with a phase that you're particularly strong in, or it augments an aspect of the game that you're already kind of leaned into, or just in general it pivots well into other cards. Almost always that is going to be the better card to play, even if you're sacrificing some of the immediate gain. Again, this is an engine building game, and when things work cohesively together, it's going to have exponentially good results. Now, phases are a big deal in this game, and the last 2 tips that we have to do with them. So tip number 4 is to consider what is it that your opponents want to do, and is that going to allow you to take advantage of multiple phases in a round. For example, if you want to play a green card from your hand, a production card, but you see that your opponent has been focusing on building up some money and likely they're going to be playing a green card based off of what they've been doing up until this point, then instead of playing development, you could instead play one of the other phases, hoping to capitalize on the fact that they are going to play development, and then you could play production or action or something else. Likewise, if you can catch your opponents with their pants down by playing a phase that they're not going to be able to take advantage of, then that is so good. Because inherently, any phase that you play, like production, that's good for everyone. Everyone rejoices. But if you can make it so you can take advantage of a phase when no one else can, then that means you're just getting that much ahead. Now, our last tip plays into that. Just make sure that you don't find yourself as the one with your pants down. Have something to do during each of the phases. I mean, yes, research, that's easy. No matter what, you're always going to get to draw cards. In production, yeah, you're going to produce. There's always an inherent value to production, whether you played the card or not. But it is so important to be able to do something during each of the phases in order to not have wasted turns when your opponents can take advantage of them. Like having green cards in your hand to play during development, have at least one red or blue card in your hand that you could potentially play during construction, and even if you aren't becoming the action baron who can put out tons of things during the action phase, which is a totally viable strategy, have at least 1 or 2 action cards in play that you can utilize that phase and not have it just as a dead phase if you don't have the resources to pay for the standard actions. And those are our tips. But they're not the only tips that someone could apply to this game. So if you are a Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition master and you have your own tips, or if you appreciate this video and there's a particular game that you want to see these types of tips for, then let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And with that said, that's our video. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Jack for the Cardboard Herald.